The channel, my name's Mark and we are here with the Ultimate Racing League. This is the Peugeot 908 HDi Wednesday night challenge. It's a 60-minute race. All compound tyres to be used, so mandatory pit stops. This week, as you can see, we are at Spa. Fantastic track. Bit of mixed feelings about this race. I actually really like this track and was really looking forward to this race, but unfortunately the PD gremlins kicked in again, and as you will see, I was booted from the lobby, which is very unfortunate, but the rest of the guys carried on, I believe. So we do have a race for you. So we did start the grid with 13. Let's have a look and see how many we actually finished with. So what we'll do is we'll run down the order. As usual, qualifying's been done. This is the grid order from qualifying, so we shall go down that. So on pole, Neil Farmack. Woodrow's in second, Derview third, fourth is Unforgiven, Kenny D on fifth, Grasshopper six, Smoky Tom 7, Slowpoke 8, Seabroad 84 is in 9th, Graham 10th, Declan 11th, C Brown 12th, and Wayne G 13. Wayne G just making it into the lobby as the race is about to start. So bit of a late entry from Wayne G, but welcome all the same. So we will get this race underway. As I say, it's scheduled for a 60-minute race. There may be a little bit of editing we've got to do. Depends how spaced out the guys get. As I say, mandatory pit stops. All tyres to be used, hards, mediums and softs. So yeah, should be an interesting race. So we'll get around Spa. If I can get the buzzer thing working or not. And it's lights out and we are racing at Spa. So let's just have a look as everybody goes up through Eau Rouge. It looks like everybody's got through there. Okay, everybody lining up behind Neil. Woodrow putting an early challenge on the straight. Looks like everybody's putting in an early challenge on that straight. Oh, we've had somebody go off already. Who was it? Let's have a look. I don't think it was Derview. It was just a bit of an overrun. I'm not going to go back onto that one. It was just a bit of a late braking, I think. So let's just go back up. So Woodrow taking up an early lead, followed by Neil. Unforgiven made his way into third. Kenny D in fourth. He's got Smoky Tom all over the back of him. Kenny D choosing to go with the medium tyres. Smoky Tom, as usual, going with the hards. We've got Grasshopper in sixth, followed by Slowpoke. Not for very long. Wayne G making his way through past Slowpoke into seventh. I'm just going to have a stick with this and see. The moment I entered the Bermuda Triangle and completely disappeared. I'm not sure if it was here or it's probably the second lap. So Derview down in 9th, Graham 10th. Oh, but a touchy feeling from Derview and Slowpoke there as we go through the bus stop. Grasshopper's decided to come into the pits. Seabroad has come into the pits, and C Brown, they have also came into the pits at the end of lap 1. So those guys getting rid of the hard tyres as early as possible. Let's just hope that the mediums and softs are up to the job. We're going to be looking at around, I don't know, I think 28 to 30 laps for this particular race. So we're going to have to, those guys are going to have to hope that the tyres are going to last. If not, it'll be an extra stop for those. Bit of a gap now opening up from the front two. Unforgiven sitting in third. He's not that far behind, but there is a little bit of a gap opening up. Alex choosing to go with the softs on this first stint as well. Neil also on the softs and Woodrow on the softs, so the top three all on the soft tyres. You can see how hard Alex is pushing it. Unforgiven is pushing it. Kenny D just dropping off a little bit, but he is on the medium tyres, so he may be able to go a little bit further into the race than the top three. We shall see. Wayne G making his way through the pack, now into fifth. That was a good overtake there on Smoky Tom. Although Wayne G has got the advantage with the soft tyres. Smoky Tom opting to the hard. His usual strategy is hard, medium, soft. It's worked for him in the past. Although he does seem to do quite well on any tyre, so let's just have a look what's happened there. So Derview, it looks like Derview made a bit of a pass there on Smoky Tom. Let's just have a go back and have a look at that. As we're approaching the bus stop, yeah, Derview just got up the inside, didn't he? Just a little bit later on the brakes. That was a good move. Oh no! And then Derview just a little bit keen on the accelerator, got the back wheels on the AstroTurf there to the right. And that's actually cost him. That was a shame. That was a great move as well. He did on Smoky Tom into the bus stop. That's cost him a couple of spots, so that was unlucky for Derview. Declan down in ninth. He's on the hard tyres, so he will be struggling a little bit. Although a bit of a gap opening up. Then we've got Grasshopper in 10th, Broad in 11th, and C Brown in 12th. Brownie running the mediums. Hope he has a better week than last week. Ran out of fuel last week, so I'm sure he'll be very, very conscious of making sure he's got plenty of fuel in that tank this week. So expecting good things from Brownie this week. So we'll just pop back up to our race leader. Woodrow has started to stretch his legs a little bit from Neil. This is one of them tracks you either love it or hate it. What do they call it? A Marmite track. As I said before, personally I like it. A lot of guys don't. Smoky Tom was telling me he's not over keen on it. But Woodrow seems to be doing okay. Neil in second. Looks like he's caught up a little bit. Unforgiven still in third. We've got Kenny D in fourth, although he's now got Wayne G for company. Ooh, back end of that car put in a bit of a complaint there to Kenny, but he's kept it under control. So Wayne G in fifth, going to be challenging Kenny any time now. Let's come on board with Wayne G as they approach the Eau Rouge. I think it's called Eau Rouge. I think we had this problem in the charity race, I couldn't pronounce it. Oh, what happened to Kenny? I just want to go back and have a look at that. Kenny, he was having a great run up through this very quick uphill section. He's just, I still don't know what happened there. I think he may have got the tyres onto the grass. Oh, I still don't know there. I think it was a bit of an oversteer or something, I'm not sure. But it's cost him a spot anyway, so Wayne G, who was no doubt going to be overtaking him anyway. So Wayne G gone into fourth, Kenny dropped to fifth. Excuse me. Smoky Tom in 6th, Derview now in 7th, Graham in 8th, and then we've got Grasshopper, Declan, Seabroad and Sea Brown are the back 4. So it's not giving us, for some reason, it's not giving us a fastest lap time. So I'm just going to try something. So apologies for clogging up the display. Yeah, it's all there. So it's not giving me a fastest lap time, although it does look like Wardrow has it at the minute with a 1:59.9. Neil's fastest so far is a 2.4. Unforgiven just a little bit off the pace there, a 2:01. Wayne G a 2:01 as well. So there's your top 4. I'm just going to have a quick swig of tea. Must remember to drink it all before it goes cold, as it did with the last one on, I think it was Monday morning. Cold tea, nothing worse. Well, cold coffee's just as bad, but there you go, some people like cold coffee. So as you can see, as we go down the order, we're now down to 12, as I was unceremoniously booted from the lobby by the PD Gremlins. So we've now got Brownie in 12th. Bit of a gap back to Declan. Oh, Declan, what's happened to Declan? Had a bit of a moment by the looks of it. So he's not under any pressure into that first tyre right-hander. He's just overshot the corner by quite a bit, and Seabroad's decided to join him. That was unlucky, Declan. Another one that wasn't really looking forward to this track. He's on the racing hards though, so I'm sure once we get onto the mediums and the softs, Declan will start putting the lap times in. You can see his fastest is a 2:08, so I'm sure that'll start to come down as he settles in. Got Seabroad in 10th. Current lap time, his best is a 2:04, so that's not too bad. Grasshopper in 9th. Everybody spread out now. We seem to have gaps in front and behind everybody. Graham nice and steady in 8th. Currently lapping around about the 2:07, but he is on hard tyres. Smoky Tom, another one on hard tyres. Best lap of 2:04, which was his last one. Going across the start finish to start lap 6. He's not that far behind Derview. Derview had a bit of a moment earlier on. He's managed to get back past Smoky Tom. He did a great overtake and then got it completely wrong coming out of the bus stop. So we missed that. Apologies for that. But he has managed to make his way back up into 6. And he's got a purple sector, so he's really pushing now on the racing softs. He's got Kennedy in front of him on the mediums, so there's a bit of a gap, but I'm sure Derview will be doing his best to catch him up. Wayne G currently in 4th. As I say, everybody spread out now. You can just see Kenny D in the distance there behind Wayne. Unforgiven, having a great race so far. Sitting in third, under no pressure at all. Neil's still in second, doing his best to catch up to the back of Woodrow. Woodrow just trying to get further and further away, so let's go on board with Woodrow. We'll do a full lap with Woodrow just to see how it should be done. Oh, we've now got the fastest laps popped up, so Woodrow does have the current fastest lap, a 1:59.8. It does make this look so easy, doesn't it? Making use of every inch of the track. Although you don't want to take too much of that left hand side there, or the left hand side on this one. Get on the AstroTurf and it will throw you out. Woodrow, as I say, making it look very easy. And drift to the right a little bit to take this left-hander, and then head down towards the bus stop. We're still not sure if that's its official title, but that's what we call it. It's a right, left. Careful with the accelerator so you don't get them back wheels spinning. And that was a great lap there from Woodrow. So we'll drop down the order and see what everybody else is doing. Neil, he can just about see Woodrow in the distance. So whether Neil's decided he's going to do a bit of fuel saving, it could be a case of the fuel running out before the tyres do today. So it'll be interesting to see how the guys manage them. So Woodrow and Neil both on the softs. Unforgiven also on the softs. I think it was the top four. As you can see on Woodrow's fuel gauge there, he's now just dipped under the halfway. Sometimes very difficult to maintain your pace when it's just you out there and no other cars around. Unforgiven doing a good job though. We've got Wayne G just in the background, you can see, so he is making grounds on Unforgiven. As I say, both on the soft tyres. You can see the tyre wear now, especially on the rear of Wayne G's car, are about 50%. So grip they will start losing the grip very shortly. So Derview in 5th. Kennedy still in 6th. As I say, with everybody spread out, there's no pressure. It is just run your own race now, manage the tyres, manage the fuel. Just having a look to see if we can find a battle, but we're not. Grasshopper, a big gap from Grasshopper to Kenny. We've got Graham in 8th. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and Grasshopper, but he's also got a gap then back to Smoky Tom. Smoky Tom has pitted already. He's now on the medium tyres, so I'm sure he'll start to get his foot down now. Current best lap of 2:04, so we'll probably see that come down by 1 or 2 seconds. We've got Broad in 10th. Don't think he's stopped yet, I can't remember. I'm going to get myself all confused now about who stopped and who hasn't. Brown in 11th and Declan in 12th. So Declan's definitely stopped. You can see he's got a fresh set of mediums on and a full tank of fuel, so that's why Declan's at the back, is after making his pit stop. So back up to our current leader, Woodrow. I'm going to skip a few seconds. As I say, they may have to do a little bit of editing as people spread out. So Woodrow on lap 10, led since the start. I think he was on second on the grid, took the lead from Neil very early on, and has really not looked back since. Doing a great job so far, and he has definitely managed to pull away from Neil a bit further. But like I say, is Neil managing his tyres and his fuel? Let's have a look. So Neil's rear tyres, I would say 50-60% gone. He's on quarter of a tank of fuel. Woodrow's pretty much the same, so it just shows Woodrow doing a fantastic job at the minute. Another guy having a good race, Unforgiven. I would say Woodrow and Neil have already lapped Declan. It looks like Unforgiven's going to be doing exactly the same any minute now. Declan will be having the blue flags, and I'm sure he will move out the way as soon as he can. Yeah, he's got the blue flags. So I'm sure Declan will be conscious Unforgiven's there. He's just going to look for a good spot so he can pull off the racing line and let Unforgiven go. But all the while Unforgiven is behind Declan. As you can see, Wayne G is creeping up. Now then, is this it? Yeah, it looks like Unforgiven has made it by Declan. Yeah, good job Declan, got out of his way. So now it's up to Wayne G now to see if he can get past Declan. You can see how much ground he's made up on Unforgiven, while Unforgiven was sat behind Declan. I'd say no fault of Declan's really, he's still in a race. And the idea is that you pull off of the racing line. Oh, Wayne G having a proper bit of showboat in there. Let's just have a go back and have a very rare sight there from Wayne G. He's took that tight right hander, and I think he's just got a bit over the top with the accelerator, and that back end has just majorly kicked out. Did well to keep it on the tarmac though. I think most of us would have spun round 4 times and been facing the wrong way by now. So excellent job of keeping it on the tarmac, Wayne. Although all that good work you did of catching up with Unforgiven has just been undone. So he's got it all to do again. So debut in 5th. I'm just having a look to see if anybody's getting any closer. They're not. Grasshopper 7th. He's all on his own, really on his own. We've got Graham and Smoky Tom are about the closest, 8th and 9th. Graham on the hard tyres. We know how quick Smoky Tom is as well, and Graham will be conscious of that. Although Graham is going to have to make a stop within the next sort of couple of laps, I think, looking at his fuel gauge. Not a problem with the tyres. As I said at the beginning of the race, this is all about fuel at Spa. So Smoky Tom catching all the time. So the lap time's coming down. Smoky Tom's last lap was a 2:02. Still almost exactly 3 seconds off of the fastest lap, which is now currently Neil Farmack with a 1:59.702. So we'll just go quickly up through the pack just to see. Oh, Derview's decided to come into the pits. Wayne G managing to get back up to the back of Unforgiven. So Derview in the pits. Grasshopper is 7th. Now will he be able to take 6th spot from Derview? He is going to stay out. You can see Derview, the fuel is not going in yet. Painful. Oh, it's just started to go in now, so it is a painful pit stop. Okay, so Derview fueled, fresh tyres, on his way out. So Grasshopper goes through to 6th. Derview has to drop down to 7th. He's just exiting the pits now, so Derview will rejoin in 7th. However, he is on fresh tyres. Smoky Tom and Graham. So Smoky did get by. Let's just go back and see if we can see when that happened. Oh, it was Graham just got himself on that AstroTurf. That was unlucky. That's allowed Smoky Tom to go through to 8th. That was unlucky for Graham. Again, did well to hold it. It could have been a lot worse. So let's just go and catch back up to where we were. So after the pit stops, Kenny's moved up to 5th, Grasshopper 6th, Derview 7th. A big gap from Kenny back to Grasshopper. Now then, race leader Wadrow into the pits. Neil Farmack has followed him into the pits. Unforgiven, he's going to have to pit as well. I mean, I do say this every week. I get these, I call these pit stops wrong, but he's running on fumes, so Unforgiven's going to have to come in. Wayne G, I'm sure he's going to have to come in. He's not. There you go. See, I get it always get it wrong. So Wayne G has worked it out that he will get one more lap out of that tank of fuel. So Woodrow, fully fueled, fresh tyres, on his way out. Let's just have a look. So Woodrow, oh, it's painful this, how slow you have to go. Excuse me. So Wayne G now takes up the lead. Woodrow out of the pits into 2nd. Oh, Kenny D just goes ahead of Neil Farmack. So Kenny D now in 3rd. All these guys going to be lapping Declan, so Declan could play a big part in this little battle here. So Kenny now currently in 3rd, with Neil Farmack closing him down in 4th, but Kenny has got a back marker in front of him. But I think he's going to lose that 3rd spot anyway. His fuel light's flashing, so Kenny's going to have to come into the pits. Neil Farmack's already made his stop. So Neil will resume his position in third. Well, he'll take second as well, because I believe that Wayne G is going to have, yeah, he is. Wayne's going to have to come into the pit. He's got a few seconds on Woodrow, but that's not going to be enough. So I think Wayne G's just hoping he can come back out into round about fourth. So as Wayne pulls into the pits for tyres and fuel, Woodrow right behind him will resume his position as race leader. Kenny, I'm sure, will come into the pits as well. He has. So Neil Formack now goes back into third, then second. So we are now back to where we were for the first part of the race, with Woodrow in front, Neil Formack second. Now it's just a race to see who can get out. Wayne G, fully fueled, fresh boots. He's on his way out of the pitch. Grasshopper's gone through to third, so no, he's not. I'm just looking at the top left there. So Wayne G is just got out in front of Grasshopper. Although Grasshopper's got the momentum, so Grasshopper goes through into third. It's only going to be a short stint in third though, because you can see his fuel light flashing. So Grasshopper will have to pit. That'll put Wayne G back into third, Unforgiven in fourth. So Wayne managed to get past Unforgiven during those pit stops. So out of the top five, we'll go back to where we were before, as I say, when Grasshopper comes into the pits at the end of this lap. So let's just go down the order and see what's happening. So Derview in 6. Kenny not that far behind him, although Kenny's now on the hards. Derview on the medium, so Derview should have the advantage. Smoky Tom still in there in 8th. Graham in 9th, having made his stop. He's now on the mediums. We've got Broad, he's also made a stop. Fresh set of medium tyres. In 10th, Brown is into the pits now. That's going to drop him down into 12th as Declan goes through. Declan currently with half a tank of fuel, so he's got a good few laps to go yet. So maybe Declan can start making some inroads and get onto the back of Seabroad. So let's go back up. So there you see Grasshopper has now come into the pit. So we are back to where we were a short while ago, with Wadru, our race leader, Neil Farmack in second, Unforgiven third, although he's got Wayne G chaser. I thought Wayne G had overtook him at one point. So whether Wayne G had a little bit of a moment. We'll just stick with these two for a second. So Unforgiven currently third on mediums. Oh wait, Wayne G got no fuel. He's got fresh sets of hard tyres, no fuel. I wonder if he's forgot to hit the fuel button. That's the mistake that I think it was Seabroad made last week. Came into the pits, changed tyres, but pressed the do not fuel button. Very easily done, and that may be the case for Wayne G, so he's definitely fuel saving to make it back. I hope he does. He must be on fumes by now. Well, if that's what's happened, That's what they call a schoolboy error. As I say, I think Broad fell foul to that one last week as well. So Wayne G has just about made it back to the pit, so that's going to cost him. That was an unlucky mistake, but it is going to cost him. So Derview will now come through, unless it was all part of his tactics to just do one stop. I don't know, is he going to change his tyres again? Maybe he just wanted to do one lap. Yeah, he is changing tyres, so maybe I got it wrong, Wayne. He did it all on purpose. Although it has dropped him down the order. So let's go up to the top. So Woodrow in first. Bit of a gap back to Neil. We've got Unforgiven in third, on his own now. Was under a bit of pressure from Wayne G, but he is on his own. We've got Derview in fourth. Kenny D currently sitting in fifth. He's on the hard tyres though, so I believe he's going to go onto the softs. We shall see. Bit of lag kicking in there as well. I don't think it's Kenny, I think it is PD. As I say, I was kicked out of the lobby right at the beginning of the race. I've done well to keep the other 12 guys in. Smoky Tom in sixth, Grasshopper seventh, and Wayne G now back in eighth. Did change his tyres onto medium, so maybe I did him a bit of a disservice there by saying he forgot to hit the refuel button. Maybe it was all part of his tactics. We shall see. We've got about just coming up to 25 minutes of this race left. We're on lap 16. So if that would have been Wayne's final stop, he's got to make these tyres and fuel last half hour. I don't think that's going to happen. We shall see. We shall see. So, going down the order, Graham. Bit lonely out there for him, as it is for the rest of the guys as well. Let's see, Broad in 10th. We've got Declan in 11th. And C Brown in 12th. You can see he's got the blue flag, so he's got somebody coming up behind. I can't see who it is, but he's going to be lapped. It's Derview, so Derview in 4th. He's going to be that's a well done for getting off the racing line, Brown, but you don't have to go that wide. They'll get by you. Is he parking? It looks like he's parking. No, he's getting out of the way for Kenny. As I say, fantastic for doing it, Mr. Brown, but you don't have to get that far off the line. You can stay on track. It's all a learning curve though. I'm sure, like me, doesn't want to get in the way of the faster guys, and the last thing you want to do is cause an accident. You trying to move out of the way and you end up colliding with them. But it all comes with practice, and I've had plenty of practice of being lapped. So back up to our leader, Woodrow. I was going to say he seems to be pulling away, but the gap seems to be the same. Back to Neil Farmack, so we can't see him at the minute. Just saw him there. As we go through this chicane section, just looking at the tyres, so Woodrow and Neil matching each other for tyres. As one goes to medium, so does the other. As Neil approaches C Broad now to lap him. Sorry if you can hear some bleeping, that's my phone, I forgot to put it on silent. So who's this? Unforgiven has picked up a penalty. So if I can go back a little bit and just see where we got that. It may to be track limits, so it goes up through Rouge. I think he did just get offline there a little bit. Yeah, that was it. He just crossed the line. Given the half-second penalty. I don't think it's going to cost him though. Derview is a little bit behind, so Unforgiven won't lose too much ground serving that penalty. Let's just go for a little bit. We'll just stay with Unforgiven at the minute. We'll just let him serve this penalty. I don't think it's going to make any difference to his position. I think Derview's just too far back. You can see the bar filling up there, the slowing down bar. It is only half a second, so as I say, it's not going to cost him too much. I'm sure he's not going to be that bothered about it. There we go, penalty served. Back up and racing again, so it doesn't cost you too much. Derview in fourth, just coming up to lap Declan. I don't think he's going to do it here. Get through the bus stop, maybe try and get by before turn one. No, I'm sure Declan will move over for him. There we go. Declan just drops to the right. Derview slots by. So what's that? Kenny's just come into the pit lane. So Smoky Tom has decided to stay out for one more lap. You can see the fuel light starting to flash, but Smoky knows he'll get one more lap out of this. And I believe Smoky will be going on to the soft tyres for the last part of the race. So he will have roughly 20 minutes on soft tyres, which should be more than enough. Kenny D now dropped right down to 8th. As Wayne G takes that 7th position away from Kenny. Kenny just coming out of the pits, rejoins, as I say, in 8th, although he is on the soft tyres now, so we shall start to see those lap times coming down. Graham also into the pits for his final stop. I'm just looking, Declan, he's not going to, well, he doesn't have to come in yet. Whether he does or not, I don't know, but he doesn't have to. I'm sure he'll get another one, maybe 2 laps out of that fuel tank. So definite bit of lag going on there. As I say, it's not the drivers. I think it is the servers. Seem to be, every time I get an update, it upsets the lobbies. But not a lot we can do about that. Oh, Brown picked up a 3-second penalty. Let's just see if we can go back and see when it was. I'm not going to go too far. Where am I? I am. Oh, it's a pit lane, so I think what he's done, it's that little line there. So that's unlucky then for Brownie. Just to add to his misery, a 3-second penalty. Just going to be lapped now. It looks Smoky Tom, is it? Yes, it is. So let's go back up to our race leader, Wadru. completely on his own. Very consistent lap times. Look at that, 2:01, 2:01, 2:01, 2:01, 2:01. Neil Farmack still with the fastest lap though, 1:59.7 in qualifying, or in practice. I believe Roger got a 1:58. So yeah, it'd be good if he can get that again. And Neil in second. He's got nobody around him. He's just lapped Broad. Unforgiven having a great race in third. Has been around that position for most of the race, so doing a good job. Keeping it steady. Derview in fourth and Smokey now in fifth. All on his own. Grasshopper at six, again, bit of a lonely race. Wayne G down in seventh after the unusual pit stop strategy. He's got about 21 minutes to make up some places as Wayne. Everybody very spread out, just getting on with their own race. Another 3 seconds for Mr. Brown. Again, that's going to be pit lane. I can only guess it's going to be pit lane. You don't normally get 3 seconds for track limits, so that's either going in or coming out, but he is definitely not doing well with his penalties, is C. Brown. So let's just have a go up and see if we can find anything. Smoky Tom into the pits in seventh, so whereabouts is Kenny? He's just got across the start finish line as Smoky Tom makes his way out of the pits. This could be interesting. I think Kenny's going to just nick that spot from Smoky Tom. He has. As you can see, Smoky Tom just coming out of the pit lane now. Back onto the track in 8th. So that final stop cost Smoky Tom a couple of spots there. Wayne G now gone up into 6th. Kenny in 7th. Let's just go up. Grasshopper in 5th. Well, the nearest to him is Derview, and he's a good, it's got to be 20, 30 seconds in front. Well, Derview just, he can actually see the back of Unforgiven's car now, so that'll give him some encouragement. Not sure if Unforgiven will be aware that Derview's catching up with him just yet. I'm sure he'll be looking at the positions, and the drivers get to see just how far they are in front and in seconds wise, and how far the car is behind them. So I'm sure Unforgiven will be looking at that. So Derview on the medium tyres, about a quarter tank of fuel left. We've got 18 minutes to go, so it could be an interesting finish to the race. A long way back to Grasshopper, so we'll go forwards then. Neil in 2nd. If you look at the map at the top right hand corner, you'll see the red arrow is Neil. And then if we flip to Wadrow. You can see he's not that far behind now. So whether Wadrow's doing a bit of fuel saving, his current pace, his last lap was dead on 2 minutes, well 2.5. Neil is slightly off the pace, he's doing a 2:01. I thought he was catching, but he's not. Derview does look like he's gaining on Unforgiven. Just make sure you keep it on track, guys. Grasshopper currently 5th, Wayne G in 6th, doing his best to get to the back of Grasshopper. It looks like he's going to. Let's go on board with Wayne G as we approach the bus stop. Being careful not to ride those curves too much. So no pressure behind, he's right at the back of Grasshopper now. As they approach Eau Rouge, or is it no? Good decision, Wayne, just to hold back. You don't want to do anything silly through there. Now as we come down, I believe what is called Camel Straight. This is where Wayne G could make his move, and he does look like he's going to. Yeah, good clean move, late on the brakes. That was a good move from Wayne G. You can see now we've got a bit of a battle going. We've got Grasshopper in 6th, Kenny G right at the back of him in 7th. Oh, is Kenny there? Kenny makes a move on Grasshopper. That was a great move from Kenny there. A brilliant move. Let's just drop back and have a look at this. So just before the left-hander, Kenny just darts out and gets that move done all the way around this sweeping left-hander, which puts him into 6th. So he's now going to be chasing Wayne. Grasshopper will want to stick with him though. So Kenny's on the softs. Oh, Grasshopper's on the medium. So Kenny should have the advantage tyre-wise. And he should also over Wayne, because Wayne's on the mediums. So we've finally got a bit of a fight on our hands now. Can Wayne hold on to that 5th position? We have got, what, 14 minutes, so there is still quite a bit to do. You can see Grasshopper just slightly falling away on the pace wise as Wayne G and Kenny start to pull away. I'm just going to go back up and see how Woodrow. He's still out on his own. Looks like Broadfoot going off track again for him. Neil in 2nd. Ooh, yellow flag. What's the yellow flag for? Oh, it's C. Brown, I think, trying to get out of the way. He's managed to stick his nose into barrier. So let's just go back to Wayne G and Kenny. Kenny getting closer and closer to Wayne. As I say, Kenny on the soft tyres, Wayne on the mediums. Kenny right at the gearbox of Wayne G now. Just waiting for his chance. So Wayne got some defending to do. On board with Wayne, as you can see, Kennedy coming in, going fast. As we go through the bus stop, Kennedy got a great exit there, so he's managed to keep right onto the back of Wayne G. He may just be biding his time, or is he going for it? Had a look, doesn't he? Kennedy's having a look. He's just going to slot behind the uphill section. Now if he can get in the slipstream. Can he get close enough? He's having a bit of a cheeky look. No. Not quite close enough there for Kenny. Now, as we can see at the top there, Woodrow into the pit lane. Neil Farmack now takes over as race leader. He thinks he'll get one more lap out of that tank. Woodrow, fresh tyres. Fill the tank up. Unforgiven in third. Derview fourth. Kenny D now fifth. Wayne sixth. Smoky Tom seventh. Let's just go back up and see where we are. So Woodrow is going to rejoin in second. Yeah, I thought somebody had gone by there, but it was Declan. So obviously Woodrow's going to lap Declan, or Declan's just unlapped himself, should we say. So Woodrow coming in second. Unforgiven in the pits is third. So where's Derview? Can Derview get past that pit lane exit before Unforgiven comes out? You can see the fuel going in. Unforgiven's only put just under half a tank in. So let's have a look where we're at. I think Unforgiven... Oh, went the wrong way there. So Derview fourth, Unforgiven. This is going to be close. As you can see, Derview now got the momentum. So Derview goes into third position with Unforgiven in fourth. So Derview on the racing hards. Unforgiven on the racing hards. Neil Farmack's now come into the pits as well for his final stop. No, he really has got nothing left in that tank whatsoever. As Woodrow goes through the bus stop bit, I think it is. Yes, it is. So we'll go across the start finish line to start lap 26. The fuel going into Neil's car. Again, this is going to be tight. So Neil just choosing to put just over half a tank in. He will now be on his way out of the pits. As Woodrow goes past the pit lane through Eau Rouge, and he goes past the pit exit, so Neil will rejoin in second. So once again we are back to where we were pretty much from the start, with Woodrow in first position. Oh, and Neil's picked up a 3-second penalty as well. That's going to hurt him. That pit lane is brutal. There was a little bit at the end, just as you're coming out the pit lane, and it just sticks out, and if you cross that line you'll get a penalty for it. The question is Neil more than 3 seconds ahead of Derview? And I believe he is a long way Yes, he is. So that 3 seconds isn't going to cost Neil a place. It will, however, prevent him getting any closer to Wadru. Unforgiven, not that far behind Derview. Kennedy in 5th. Much better with his lap times. His last lap, sorry, was a 2:01. Fastest lap so far is a 2 minute dead almost. So Kenny flying at the minute. Wayne can just see the back of Kenny's car. Smokey in 7th. Grasshopper in 8th. That's a very lonely race for Grasshopper. It must be a good 30 seconds in front and behind. Graham in 9th. He's just going to come up behind, I believe it's Declan. Then we've got Seabroad 84 in 10th, and Brown in 11th with Declan 12th. You can see the blue flags waving at Declan, so that's giving him the indication that he needs to move out of the way, let Graham get by. So let's just go back up to the top, see what's happening. Wadru looking very comfortable out in front. I think this is where the battle's going to be for maybe 3rd and 4th. You can just see Unforgiven coming into view, so Unforgiven not that far behind. And doesn't like he's catching. And we've also got Kenny. He's not that far behind either. Wayne G in 6th. And Smoky Tom in 7th. So it's the gap between 3rd and probably 6th that is not that bad at the minute. We've got, let's have a look, about 4.5 minutes of this race left. I think the first 2 spots are pretty much taken, unless, as I say, the PD gremlins kick in and somebody else gets thrown out the lobby. So Wadru and Neil, I think, are definitely going to take 1 and 2. It's all coming down to this now, to see who can get that 3rd podium position, currently held by Derview. Unforgiven doing everything he can to catch up with him, although Kenny, as I said, is absolutely flying. And it doesn't look like it's going to be long before he's putting a challenge in on Unforgiven. He's now right on his gearbox. So round turn 1, good exit needed. Kenny got one, sitting in the slipstream of Unforgiven. Will he put a challenge in before we hit a rouge? No. I think he's definitely going to go for it on the Kemmel straight though. So Kenny just slots to the right there. Now then, it's who's latest on the brakes? Oh, that was nearly touchy there, but Kenny, great move from Kenny on Unforgiven. Gets him into 4th spot. So now, let's chase Derview down. Just under 3 minutes left. You can see Derview go by there. Kenny, you can see him, see Wayne G in the background as well. So I think this is definitely where the battle is going to be taking place. I'm sure Derby will be fully aware of what's going on behind. We're just approaching the last 2 minutes. So one more lap. Can Derview hold on to that third position? We've got Kenny just a few seconds behind him. Unforgiven now in fifth. It does look like Kenny's pulling away from him, so I don't think Unforgiven can do much about it. Wayne G in sixth and Smoky Tom in seventh. Let's just go back down. Grasshopper in eighth, Graham ninth, Broad 10, Brown 11 and Declan 12. So as I say, the front two I think are pretty much sorted. It is all about this third and final podium spot, although just what Derview's got quite a bit of a gap now to Kenny. And Kenny gets the purple sector, so he isn't holding back, is he? And that gap is definitely closing. Derview on the hard tyres, so he will be fighting that car. Kenny's on the softs, although worn. Although a wise man did say worn softs are still better than fresh hards. Unforgiven, Wayne G still in fifth and sixth, but I think this is where it's going to be happening. Let's just have a look where we are with Woodrow. Now then, well, Woodrow, I think he's going to get one more lap in. He is, as is Neil. We are approaching the last 5 seconds. I'm just going to stick with these two, so apologies if somebody is crossing the start-finish line, because Kenny is now all over Derview. This is into the bus stop. Oh, and Derview, what's happened there? Oh no! So Kenny putting Derview under all sorts of pressure. I think Derview was just a little bit late on the brakes, which pushed him wide, and Kenny said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that from you." That was so unlucky for Derview. So let's just go back and catch up with the guys finishing, and it does look like actually that Kenny excuse me, so Kenny's crossed the line to finish in third position. He's the first one across the line. Derview takes fourth. Oh, Unforgiven. Oh, it's all happening now. Unforgiven currently in fifth. All he's got to do is get through the bus stop. The yellow flags are for Derview going off, and then Unforgiven does exactly the same, and Wayne G comes in to take fifth. Smoky Tom takes sixth. Unforgiven takes seventh. Broads took ninth. Declan's 11th. See Brown's there somewhere. So let's just go back up to all in. It was all happening there. We've gone through a whole hour, and then it all happened in the last 10 seconds. Woodrow led almost from the off. Very early overtake of Neil Farmack on the Camel Straight, put him in that number one position, and pretty much stayed there all the way through this race, bar the odd overtake during pit stops. But Woodrow, a well-deserved winner. Flash of the lights there, fantastic, well done Woodrow, great race. Not a lot Neil could do about it. Another great race though from Neil. Ooh, excuse me. And Neil coming in second. Well, there you go. It all happened at the last few minutes. We can't help the, as I say, the PD gremlins kicking people out, etc. So that was round 6, I believe. We are at Daytona International Speedway next week. Hope you can join me for that one. Really enjoyed that. I will catch you later.